In this series, we talk about cognitive distortions and In this series, we talk about cognitive distortions and what you can do to overcome them. Before we begin, I highly encourage you to watch the introduction video on what cognitive distortions are first. If you watched it already, then in this video, we are going to talk about overgeneralization. Overgeneralization is when a person takes the event of one event and applies it to every other event, including the ones in the future. It is a distorted and inaccurate way of seeing things because it assumes that the other events are all completely the same and that the person's own abilities will never change, which is simply impossible. Here's an example. When I played Elden Ring and fought this boss for the first time, he killed me. I died. Therefore, I am bad at Elden Ring and will never be good at it. I took the result of one event, me dying to the boss, and applied it to every other event, which in this case is anything that involves me playing Elden Ring. By saying that I will never be good at Elden Ring, I show that I believe I am incapable of improving or that the game will always be this difficult no matter what I do. That's overgeneralization, and it is a problem because it is negative and it strips the person of hope for the future. Without a sense of hope, I am not going to try and improve myself in order to change the outcome and do better. If you watched the previous video on all or nothing thinking, you might notice two similarities here. Namely speaking, the negativity and the hopelessness that this cognitive distortion causes. So, if you tend to overgeneralize, let's talk about how you can overcome this cognitive distortion. Like most cognitive distortions, one strategy to overcome it is to challenge your thoughts. Let's say you're me now, and you believe that because you died to the boss once, or even more than once, therefore you are bad at the game and will never get better, then what you need to do is to first challenge that belief. You do that by asking yourself, am I being fair and rational when I say that? Did you die to the boss because you are bad at the game, or could it be because that your character is underleveled? Could you have died because you just had bad RNG with the boss's attacks? What about your gaming ability? Is there a law stating that if you suck at a game, then it must mean without a doubt that there is nothing in the world that you can do to improve? Can you never get good? Does that make sense, or are you being unfair to yourself? When you overgeneralize, you are thinking of an absolute thought that leaves you hopeless. Let's apply this to a more common example. I failed my math test, therefore I will never be good at it. I am hopeless. Your goal by asking yourself these questions and challenging your absolute thought is to turn it into a maybe thought. I failed my math test, but maybe it's because I didn't study enough. I failed my math test even though I did study really hard for it, but maybe my study technique was wrong. I failed my math test even though I did everything I could to pass, but maybe I missed something. Maybe I will do better in the next test if I keep working at it, or maybe I need a different teacher who can help me understand better. You could say that I'm telling you to make excuses for your own failure. Well, if making excuses helps to give you hope to keep trying to improve, then yes, make excuses for yourself to keep trying to improve. Absolute thoughts are bad because with cognitive distortions, it leaves us feeling negative and hopeless. And when a person feels hopeless for an extended period of time, it can lead to issues like depression. Our goal is to be fair and rational so that we can open up alternate possibilities and create hope for ourselves. Because when we overgeneralize, we are being unfair and irrational with ourselves. We are all capable of change and improvement. Trust me, I've spent more than 6 years working with students with learning disabilities, and every single one of them were capable of improving themselves. And coming back to Elden Ring, I've never completed any of the Dark Souls games before, but I was able to beat Elden Ring after throwing hundreds of hours at it and just slowly getting good over time. So, if you notice that you tend to overgeneralize when something bad happens, then try to challenge your thoughts. Take the absolute thought and challenge it by considering other factors until it becomes a maybe thought. Do not accept that it is a hopeless situation. Challenge it until there is hope. Now, sometimes it can be difficult to do this on your own, especially if you're feeling down after being disappointed by a bad outcome or the boss cheats by being a friend. In those situations, it'll be good if you talk to someone, be it your family, friends, a trusted adult, or perhaps even summoning your own friend. They will be able to help you rationalize the situation and turn the absolute thought into a maybe thought. And if you're still having a hard time, even with their help, then perhaps you would consider seeing a professional like a counselor. Overgeneralization, like most cognitive distortions, is not uncommon and something that most of us experience from time to time. As long as you are able to challenge your thoughts or get support from the people around you, then chances are you'll be able to overcome it. With that, I hope to see you again in the next video, and as always, remember that I am proud of you for even just trying. Bye bye!